Hi, John, the founder of Shodan. Welcome
Hello.
to Kuwait.
Happy to be here.
So, could you tell us, please, about your visit here in Kuwait, and is this the first time?
So this is my second time in Kuwait. I'm returning to the KIACS conference. I presented in 2017. Back then I talked about my initial experience of looking at ICS devices, industrial control systems, and sort of my struggles in figuring out how to work with that environment. Because I don't come from an OT background, I come from an IT background. And I just was sharing my experience. That's what they brought me in. And this time they brought me back to talk a bit about IoT, which is, everybody knows it's growing, it's exploding, everybody wants smart everythings. And so I was able to give a talk and share some recent trends and information about what we've been seeing on the internet.
Nice. And when, I'm sorry if I ask a very old question, like when did Shodan start?
So Shodan initially launched in 2009. And back then I had 30 followers on Twitter. I don't know how somebody discovered it in security, but they found it, and then things have exploded since then. I should say that when I created Shodan, I didn't know about IoT. I didn't know about that ICS would be on the internet. I had no idea. I created Shodan as a tool for companies to see who's using their hardware and software on the internet. So instead of doing surveys about like which companies are using Cisco, which companies are using Juniper, how often do they patch? That's what I created Shodan for. I thought it'd be market intelligence, business intelligence that companies could use. Obviously it went a different direction, but that was the original reason why I created it. And then when I posted it on Twitter, people in security found it, and then I've been focusing on more of the security aspects ever since.
So it wasn't security at the beginning?
No, the use case was not for security. Actually, the initial internal tagline was Netcraft for everything. Are you familiar with Netcraft?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so Netcraft is fantastic, and I thought, why isn't there a Netcraft for everything, not just web servers, for FTP, for SSH, for all these other things. And so that was the initial goal.
And now it's growing and famous.
Yeah, we have more than 3 million users. We've been growing very well every year. I'm very happy. We're used globally. We have users across the board, not just US or China, Scandinavia, everything. Some in the Middle East, not a huge amount. But yeah, it's been really interesting to see how it's been developing over the years.
Do you have one office in the US?
We're actually remote only.
Remote only?
We're remote only.
Wow.
So I am building the company the way I would have liked to have worked as an engineer. My last job at a company, I had to drive 1.5 hours every day, like each way. So 3 hours driving in a car. I don't want any of my employees to ever have to do that. So we're remote only. We have employees around the world. And so no office.
Nice. This is new to me.
Yeah, it's fairly new to the US, like everybody.
Yes, I didn't expect that.
It's from a business perspective, it's also nice because you can find talent everywhere in the world.
Yes.
You don't have to live in the US. And if you're a good programmer, if you can work on your own, and if you think the work is interesting, then we can hire you.
So, talking about now programmers and programming, what programming languages are you interested in to work for Shodan?
Also, at Shodan, we are mostly a Python shop.
Python.
So our scanner is C++ with a Python plugin engine. All of our websites are Python. Very Python heavy. In terms of interesting languages, Rust. Rust is something that I'm very excited about. I've been personally writing a few of our internal research projects in Rust, and I really love it. It took a long time for me to kind of get it. Have you programmed in Rust?
No, I don't know Rust.
But do you know Rust as a language?
I've heard of it.
Okay, yeah. So the whole borrow checking is a new way of doing things, and but I'm actually really excited about programming languages recently because there've been so many coming out.
Yes.
So again, I come from a more software engineering background. So I'm really excited about all these different things, and Kubernetes and the whole auto DevOps workflow, and that's why actually we don't hire security people at Shodan, because we don't need you to have security knowledge. We hire software engineers. We need people that know how to develop applications, because our users are working security, but we don't.
So, I mean, now if we talk about ICS through Shodan, do you get complaints from the companies that you are exposing their...
Not for ICS. So it
Not
turns out
ICS.
for ICS, they don't look at their networks closely enough to even know that we're doing it. Yeah, they're not. And if they are, I think we have enough of we've built a good enough reputation over the years, and we identify all of our IPs by hostname. So if you see an IP connecting and you do a reverse DNS, it'll say something.shodan.io. And we have a very good relationship with the ICS cert and most certs around the world. So we don't really get complaints ever from industrial places like utilities and anything like that. Nothing. We get them typically from small businesses that have one IT guy or something, and he's looking at the logs and he doesn't know what's going on. And but no, otherwise ICS is not like that.
So what about the industrial Internet of Things? Are you scanning them now, or are they not yet exposed?
So we've been looking at industrial IoT for many years now.
Yes.
That's been one of some of my personal projects and research efforts. And I think it's been very interesting that we've been able to collect data to show that people are making mistakes and putting these on the internet. Because previously, if you found a vulnerability in an ICS device, you'd go to the vendor and you'd be like, hey, this is a problem, you need to patch it. And the vendor would say, we don't think this is very important because nobody has it exposed. You need to be local, you need to have all these privileges. It's like, and nowadays with Shodan, they can be like, no, we know these are, there are a few thousand of these on the internet. This is important. You can't pretend like this is a theoretical exercise anymore. So having actual empirical data has been useful for that, and also to see how things have been changing over time, because it's been, I guess, surprising that the problem has gotten worse over the years. I think a lot of people expected that once you say ICS is on the internet, utilities and OT people would start shutting it down. Like, this is a priority. You should never have it on the internet. That's not happened. So it's actually been a growing problem, but it's getting better. We're starting to see that a lot of these new ICS security companies are making it a bit more acceptable for you to have security problems. It's not, I remember the first time we started scanning for these ICS protocols, we went to a vendor and we said like, hey, we think we could help your customers, get protected, and we'll give you everything for free. We're not charging you for you. This is like, we just want to protect them. And the vendor initially was like, great, let's try to fix this. They connect us with one of their engineers, and the engineer was like, how dare you? How dare you? No, everything is secure. No, we would never make that mistake. Our customers would never make that mistake. How dare you imply that, our customers would make this mistake? And I'm like, okay, it was a very personal thing. I don't think that's the case anymore. Nowadays, there have been so many security incidents that it's okay to have a mistake, have a problem, just be aware and fix it. And so it's become more accepted. I think it's been helpful.
Exactly. And what about the ICS protocols? Are you planning to put more?
We cover almost all of them. Yeah, we cover all. I mean, Modbus, 102, we do S7, MMS, IEC 104, DNP3, KNX, BACnet, Ethernet IP, Red Lion. We have a lot of smaller ones like HID Vertex. We have everything. I think we've been very good about building that out. The only thing I don't know is if there are specific regional ones. So that's like when I travel around, I try to see if there are any local vendors that have their own proprietary protocol.
Yes.
I don't see it too often actually in ICS, because a lot of the vendors are kind of the same everywhere.
Yes.
But no, we have around, I think, 20 different ICS protocols that we look at.
Cool. What about the
Also medical. But
the metadata? Are you planning to provide more meta?
yes. So that's the way we think of Shodan is we've been building out this platform that is very good at finding devices. And once we find them, we want to start grabbing more information about the metadata for those devices. For ICS, we're mostly interested in collecting information that helps identify asset owners. Because we know some protocols, you can actually query like a license file or something that would help a security organization identify the asset owner.
Yeah.
And we're also trying to determine different configurations so that you can also filter. You can be like, okay, we know these devices, yes, they shouldn't be on the internet, but they're configured otherwise in a somewhat safe way.
Yep.
So let's ignore those for now.
Yep.
So yes, actually expanding the metadata, that's where we're really interested in. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. And it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to meet you. Any plans like for Kuwait or the Middle East?
No, nothing immediate.
Any projects, local projects in Kuwait?
No, we have a few customers in Kuwait. It's been growing but slowly area for us. From our perspective, our product requires a lot of technical sophistication.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty far down in the sort of maturity models for most organizations. And so for OT in most of the world, to be honest, unless you're like a giant organization, you can't plug and play our technology. You need to have a third-party vendor that can help you take advantage of Shodan. So actually for us, initially, in terms of roadmap, we are going to be launching more services that are managed. So you can, for example, recently we offered a service where you just enter your IPs or some other criteria, and we will send you an alert if we find it on Shodan, if we find it on the internet. So you don't need to do anything. You don't need to search on Shodan. You can just be like, hey, let me know if you find anything. Just make it easier to access this information. That's our goal.
Also, again, I would like to thank you because I used the product for my research.
Thank you very much for doing that. We give free access to researchers, just so you know. So if you email us or you create an account with an academic email address, you get automatically upgraded.
Cool.
And I'm very happy it was helpful for your research.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks.